the obvious place to start is kind of the origins of the two of you coming together to collaborate on this. This was Brian's feature film acting debut, as far as I know. So, Justin, how did that idea come to you? How did the two of you first?
It was a collaboration. It wasn't like I had this brilliant idea and wanted a certain. It was actually like we built it together.
Yeah. We met for the first time in like early 2018, and then that was I already knew about like his work in the past as well. So, and him and my manager goes like super way back. So when my manager told me that he like knows Justin, I was like, that's dope. I would love to see him and hang out. So that's what we did, and we just kind of like talked about film and just like our just interest creatively and random stuff. And then that's when we kind of figured out that like there might be something to do there together. So the next 2-3 years we kind of talked a lot and just figured that out.
And so how did you come to the idea of this sort of story where you'd have, about the father and that whole dynamic?
Well, I mean, the big thing is I'm with all my work, I'm trying to bring empathy to the AAPI community. And Southeast Asians are really non-existent in American cinema. So that was something that was so exciting for me, and I also wanted them to speak Bahasa Indonesia, their own language. So a good portion of the film is them speaking their native tongue. So I think that was a big driver of it, and then it was just like the rest of it was through years of conversation with him, I was trying to find trigger points and things that he could relate to. That can be parallel to his life, but not. It's this fiction though. Like he has a great relationship with his dad in real life, and things like that. But it just was a naturalistic process. It wasn't trying to force some sort of agenda.
Well, talk a little bit about that, Brian. I mean, in terms of the kind of intersection between you and this character. Like you're not playing yourself, but how are you finding your way into this guy?
Yeah, I think that was really interesting because one of the things that, when me and Justin were talking for like 2 or 3 years, he would just ask me questions about my life, like with my music career, like certain details of like things that I would do, like the boring parts of my job, and to get that realism like super spot on. And also when it comes to, all the Indonesian stuff in the film, because there's a lot, we're kind of highlighting a lot of Indonesian stuff, and he would just kind of check in with me and make sure that it's accurate and we're doing it in just the most accurate and just respectful way possible. And I think like for the character, it was really interesting because I am playing myself in a way, but also the parts that are the most fictional is like my relationship with my dad and just how the whole emotional turmoil really of that film. My character was going through a lot in the film, and I just like, I had to get into like certain places emotionally that I never usually go to in real life. And I just had to like let it out. I had to scream a lot and just get used to that, because I'm usually just a super filtered, like kind of self-controlled like dude. And
it's like louder.
Yeah, exactly.
Louder.
Exactly. No, he was getting me there like, the whole time through rehearsals, and there was a lot of little things that I learned through rehearsals and learning it from Justin, and also like having the chance to talk to Yayu, like the guy that plays my dad, a lot was amazing too, because he's a veteran and he's also like an acting coach. So I was just surrounded by the best people.
He's also a mime.
Yeah,
he's a professional mime.
Yeah, the guy that plays my dad is also a professional mime. That's his background. So he like has just like 99% control of his body.
Well, that's interesting because like he's incredible in the movie, and I'm curious like what that's like. Having this dynamic where you've got someone who is making their screen debut, and then you've got someone who's a veteran actor. I mean, do you feel like the two of them give each other?
That's
something?
The best way to do it. Yeah. With a first-time actor, that's the best way to do it, because there's through the scene work and through the acting, you can support and I mean, it's like if you act with a brilliant actor, it makes everybody's job easier. Yeah. So like I knew for Brian, I wanted to make sure that his partner was going to be somebody that can really play and support and understand what he needs, for his first time.
Absolutely.
He was the best.
I mean, did you, Brian, did you have any, fear or trepidation, coming into this?
Definitely, yeah. There was like, I always say this story, but there was the longest time where I kept asking Justin if it's okay, like if I should take acting classes to prepare for this. But the whole time he was very confident that he was gonna get me to a comfortable place on camera by just doing rehearsals and just getting me used to the script and like just being in front of the camera. And he, you know, because one of the main things of this movie, I think, is like he wanted the performance to be as naturalistic and subtle as possible. And, you know, I think I do see a scenario where if I did take acting classes, then I would learn a lot of techniques and tools that would kind of confuse me, because by the time we film this, he's just going to be like, forget all of it, you know. So it was a really, really interesting approach, I think, and it was a really easy approach, I feel like as a first-time actor. I think that was like the best situation for me, being like able to have all that time. But yeah, there was definitely a point where I was just like, am I built for this job? But then I think like by the first week of filming or whatever, like everything, it all just felt super easy.
Yeah, but I was super proud of him, because it is a scary thing to do if you've never done it, and to put yourself out like that and be so, you know, exposing the ugliest sides of maybe who you are. And he had to really trust me, and had he not, there's no way this film could happen.
Well, and he mentioned the rehearsal process a couple of times. I mean, what was the rehearsal process like? Is it rehearsing scenes in the script? Is it improvisational
All
stuff?
sorts of shit. You know, like in the beginning, we did rehearsals through Zoom, and at first it was just kind of like getting comfortable, and then we did all sorts of weird shit. Like we did like some mime shit. We did some. You tell him.
The very first day that I met Yayu, the actor that played my dad, Justin told me and Yayu to just like stare into each other's eyes while he takes like photos of us from different angles. And me and Yayu were just like looking at each other for like the longest time, probably the longest I've ever stared at somebody. And then Yayu, like, he just arrived to Hawaii after like a super long flight. And then as he's like looking at me, he didn't tell me he was gonna do this, but he started crying. His tears start coming out, and I'm like, I don't know whether to also cry or start laughing right now, but this is really intense. So we did that, and then we also did a bunch of like, we pretty much rehearsed the whole script like twice over. So we did a lot of random scenes and like specific scenes that takes a lot of, you know, it's kind of like choreography. We kind of had to like practice it and make sure that we have the pacing and everything right before the actual day of the shoot. So,
Yeah, well, it really pays off. I mean, the relationship between you and your father in this movie is just so powerful and touching and beautiful.
Totally.
I mean, I really just had so much. I just was emotionally wrenching to watch
Oh,
the
wow.
two of you.
Thank
You know,
you.
right from the beginning. So, I mean, after this experience, you know, how do you see your career going forward as far as acting goes? Is this
Definitely.
You know, you're gonna do more of it?
Absolutely. I think I'm going to, you know, hopefully see if I get offers after this. I want to just explore it as much as possible, while, you know, still I think my first love is always going to be music, because that's what got me here. But I think acting is a really interesting thing, because before music, my main passion was like the film world and like cinematography. And, you know, I do see myself working on movies in the future, like even just on the directing side, and like, because I was also super into like VFX and stuff like that. So that kind of side of film I was super into and still see myself doing. And I think right now, you know, acting is a great first step to like step into this world. So I want to explore it as much as possible.